And what's up? Welcome to the latest review from Internet Game Pixel News Chan. Today we'll be taking a look at the most recent Doom game. Some sources have called it Doom Eternal, but these are wrong. Our sources have found the real newest Doom game to actually be called Doom Ultimate. Doom Ultimate is the latest in a long line of first-person shooter games commonly referred to as Overwatch clones for their near identical gameplay, with Overwatch being the game that pioneered the genre. Doom Ultimate comes from the brilliant mind behind Daikatana and draws heavily from games created by other studios such as Blizzard's Wolfenstein 3D and EA's Quake series. There have been many iterations of the Doom games, and this one is the 65th to be released, right after Doom 64. With such a long history and catalogue of games behind it, this is sure to be the most polished and up-to-date game I have ever played. Let's jump right in. My first impression of the game was lackluster. There's no opening cutscene to set the scene. I had no idea who or where I was. I had no idea what to do. The game just dumped me into a level and expected me to figure things out all for myself. Things got so bad I had to search Google for a walkthrough or some instructions. Luckily, it seems that some kind individual had put together a full manual full of instructions and story points for the game. Why this information wasn't included in the game I will never know. I feel that the developers were being extremely lazy here. Initially, I thought due to the lack of direction, I was playing a choose your own adventure game. I can't tell you how much time I wasted trying to find my hacking or bartering skill trees. After spending a lot of time reading through this fan-made manual and getting to grips with the thoroughly unintuitive controls, I quickly came to realise how needlessly violent this game is. It seemed to be nothing but a white male fantasy. The true hell is playing this mass shooting inspiring game of sadness and death in the first place. Now, I can't talk about my initial impressions of the game without mentioning the graphical quality. This game is a stunning pixel art masterpiece, which pays homage to all the 7 and 17-bit games I grew up reviewing. The game's visual style clearly borrows heavily from some other pixel art masterpieces, such as Undertale or Celeste. Some may say id Software are being copycats, but I call them inspired. Some of the pixel art gets a bit too detailed here and there. But the game being done entirely in pixel art is a brave decision by the developers, opting to go for the retro look instead of a more modern one. It's just a shame that the non-pixel art version seems to be locked behind some kind of paywall. Now, I may be giving a biased opinion here. As a game journalist, I feel a strong affinity for pixel art. I mean, just take a look at my profile picture. I have nothing but praise to give to the devs. For a large studio backed by Bethesda, they could have easily went for another gory, realistic shooter, but they threw us here at Internet Game Pixel News Chan a bone. Unfortunately, however, the praise must end here, as the game is laden and seriously held back by the enormous number of bugs that are all throughout it. Many of the movement inputs are seriously broken to the point where they simply don't work. I tried and tried and tried, but I could not get the jump button to work, and looking up and down didn't seem to work either. This keeps you rigidly frozen, staring forward, and in a fully 3D game, full of stairs and ledges, this was a huge disadvantage. I couldn't shoot at enemies who were above or below me, and I had to get to their level before I could do any damage. And in some cases, this left enemies completely inaccessible, like these brown demons who simply can't be killed. The game clearly supports angled movements, as they can fire down at me, but the only way I can kill them is by waiting for another bug to make them spontaneously die. Had this bug been present in Doom 2, the already very difficult boss fight against the Icon of Sin would have been impossible. And the lack of a jump really limits mobility, and makes some gaps, which the player is clearly meant to jump across, nothing but impassable pits. The status bar along the bottom is also horribly bugged out. There's clearly 2 health meters, and anyone who's ever played a video game knows that first arm is depleted, then health. But it seems that here, due to some sloppy coding, both meters go down at once, and to make matters worse, the amount that goes down by each time I take a hit isn't even consistent. As soon as I think I've figured out how many hits I can endure, the game just seems to randomly generate a number, almost as if using some random number generation device, and decides at will what to take off of each meter. This added a layer of artificial difficulty, which made the game nigh on unplayable. And that's not even to mention the game's most outrageously exclusionary feature. Look at this horrible, probably racist and homophobic pixel art of a man's face. First of all, why is this man staring at me? I feel like this may be a method to intimidate female gamers out of enjoying this game, by forcing them to endure a man directly staring and leering at them, which can be extremely uncomfortable for many people, including myself. And secondly, why does he randomly look around? Is this meant to imply he suffers from some form of ASD? Is the game mocking us by forcing us to watch a vulnerable and marginalised individual be brutalised? id Software really needs to take a look at these horrendous implications. But the bugs don't end there. Look at these sprites flipping their handedness for no reason. Look how this power up makes my sprite disappear. Look how the texture for this demon hasn't even loaded. Look how the ladder out of this pool is bugged and doesn't work. Look how this boss enemy appears to be firing invisible projectiles at me. And I could go on. The game is filled with bugs, but perhaps the biggest is the completely broken enemy AI. The first time I saw enemies fighting each other, I wondered if this was some kind of online multiplayer function that not even the manual could explain. But no, it really just seems the AI is so broken that they forget they're supposed to be attacking the player. This does nothing but take you out of the moment and completely shatter your immersion. When you have these demons who zigzag towards you, and these demons who seem to aimlessly wander around, the AI clearly needs a lot more work before this game can be considered ready for release. But again, the lazy devs just seem to want to push another Doom game out. The game's bugginess and broken enemy AI is the second worst aspect of this game. Second only to the very poorly designed levels, which lead to you running around aimlessly, praying that you will eventually stumble towards the exit. With absolutely no rewards for exploration, this makes each level a tedious mess, with an unfairly high amount of enemies scattered everywhere that do nothing but massively drain your health and kill you over and over and over again, throwing you back to the start of the labyrinth to try and figure your way out to the end of the level without getting shot to pieces by the literal thousands of enemies once again. I replayed the first level so many times, I eventually memorised its gargantuan layout and decided to just make a run for the exit. Watch this. Had I not been working to a deadline and could have spent more time actually learning the level, I would not have taken that long to complete it. And at the end of the level, the game mocks you for not traversing every step of its design. I spent a full weekend searching and couldn't find a single secret in this level. This is the case in almost every level. Try to wander around, get shot, start again. Now I heard some Nazi terrorists online saying that the point is to create an intricate and atmospheric environment for the player, to add a horror vibe to the game, and facilitate fast back and forth movement. But I have no time for such fascist nonsense. And I have a sneaking suspicion this is done only to exclude those who suffer from claustrophobia. Something else I noticed, none of the floors go over each other. Why they've done this when the game engine is clearly rendering a fully 3D environment is beyond me. Likely just so they could apply even less thought to each level. I'm so sick of getting lost. Why is there no compass or map showing you where to go? I wouldn't mind a few doors or enemies, but I really feel like anything that deviates hugely from a relatively straight line is needlessly difficult, and serves to do nothing but make the game less welcoming to new players. All in all, these factors come together to form an artificially difficult game. I found myself dying over and over and over again, and whenever I felt like I started to make even a little progress, I would run out of ammo and have to resort to brute force to make any progress, forcing me to look at the arms of a man who's clearly never drank an IPA in his life, which inevitably results in death, and having to start the level over again. And due to what I can only imagine is another bug, whenever I was killed, I found I lost all my weapons. Weapons I earned through hard work, and hours upon hours upon hours of trial and error. This shotgun took me a full afternoon to earn, and now it's just gone. Be this a bug or poorly thought out mechanic, it is without a doubt the most egregious fault made by the developers, and something that will hopefully be fixed in the next update. Doom could learn a lot from games which have a fairer difficulty curve, games like Cookie Clicker. Cookie Clicker gently introduces the player to what they'll be doing, and once the player feels fully comfortable, then and only then are new elements added. So perhaps if the difficulty level was somewhat more inviting, then I could have gotten through it, but for the most part, it felt like I was playing the Dark Souls of Overwatch clones. Oh, why won't these monsters die? Overall, the game attempts to pull you in with its stunning pixel art graphics, but then it blindly shoves you into a world you've never seen before, without as much as an opening cutscene to guide your way, and expects you to just figure it all out on your own. The lack of polish is so apparent it's almost an insult. I can't believe quality assurance let this much slip through. Shame on you, Travis Dickerson. Shame on you for your disgustingly phallocentric name and your failure to assure the quality of this game. This, along with the lazy and clearly thoughtless level design, serves to artificially inflate the difficulty of an already needlessly difficult game. I was reduced to tears by the third level, and here is an excerpt of the disturbing footage of the pain I had to endure.
I don't like this! I need to ring my mum! I need to go, I need to go. I feel sick!
Well, tough, you know, that's
it
what
is tough! No, I'm scared!
Listen, stop the lie.
Thanks for this.
That's
Ruined
right,
my
it's
holiday.
absolute.
This game is completely unplayable, and I cannot for the life of me understand how or why this has made it to the 65th installment of the series. Hopefully the intellectual torpedo that have been my words will sink the ship that the Doom series sails upon once and for all. I rate this game 1 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Stephen Oyboy, and this is Internet Game Pixel News Chan. If you'd like to see a review of a better game, click here to see my glowing review of Cookie Clicker. And if you'd like to see a review of the Dark Souls series, go to a different channel. I couldn't complete any of them.